Alright folks, turn that down. Old Dan Infalt talking. Alright everybody, I'm scouting SOA Special Opportunity Area that I drew in Alabama. So these are tags basically that you can draw. You can apply for it, it's free, you can apply for a whole bunch of them at once. And if you draw it, then basically it's a highly managed property. You get assigned a unit. The unit's all yours for the time that you're there. So looks like I'm here at my gate. So I'm about to go scout it and show y'all what I see. This is pretty new, so this might be the first time some of you guys have heard of this, but let's go check it out. Okay, walking away from the truck now. Walking down a deer trail. I like to drive the roads out here. Or really in any new place I'm going to, I like to drive the roads first and actually find deer trails that are crossing the roads and kind of use those as starting points, kind of shoot into places. Walking on these deer trails to go scout, it's a good way to kind of quickly get on sign. So that's what I'm doing here. This place is looking really, really good so far. So, found this little hardwood finger that like wraps around an area of these smaller pines. And I'm standing on the transition and there's a little fire break right here. So this is usually like an excellent place to find buck sign. I'm seeing a few tracks here and there, and it's an old buck sign, but one thing that's kind of important about this hunt for me is I'm not actually going to be hunting this place in the rut. I have a muzzleloader tag for Alabama, which is going to be basically mid-November, and you know, most of the country you'd be like, oh yeah, mid-November, that's sweet. But here, that's very far out from the rut. The rut in this particular spot is going to be more Christmas-like-ish, Christmas, early January. So it's all right. I'm just gonna be hunting food sources, really tight to bedding, and that's gonna be my strategy. So right now I'm just trying to get a lay of the land. Probably about to go up in there and see if I can find some beds or some travel routes or something. Kind of get me started in here. It's easy to get distracted in a place like this because, you know, as of right now, last few days of September, it's easy to like come in here and start finding acorns on the ground and be like, okay, it's a good spot. Where, you know, I might want to come back in here 2 months from now and hunt over these acorns. Well, you know, that tree might drop every acorn it's got, and the deer might have it cleaned up before then. There might be other trees, so it's like when you're scouting this far ahead, there's a lot of like distractions. You know, you got to be thinking ahead about what the deer are gonna be doing at that time. So right now, I'm really looking for some oaks that might not be dropping until a little bit later in the season, or maybe some kind of alternate food source, but all in all, I'm really just going to refer it all back to bedding because it's going to be so far ahead of the rut or the pre-rut. I'm not going to be able to rely on any of that action. You know, Alabama Novembers, especially this is lower Alabama, so I wouldn't be too surprised at all if it was pretty warm. So, you know, the deer might not be moving that much when I'm here, and that's okay. They will move, you know, regardless of heat. It's just a matter of how close you are to their bedding and what they're going to be keying in on if it is warm. So I want to basically try and find some spots for all the different scenarios that I might run into. Let's say really cold, I want to find some like acorns, stuff like that. If it's really warm, I want to find some kind of other food source like greenbrier or something that they might be keying in on, and I want to relate it back to bedding, or I want to find bedding cover that would keep the deer warm if it's really cold versus bedding cover that would keep them cool if it's really warm. So, you know, it's just a game of trying to cover all my bases because I basically have 3 hours to scout this place and then nothing until I come down here to hunt. check that out. Definitely some pigs in the area, but there's also some deer tracks in it where they're probably maybe eating the mud or something, kind of like a mineral lick station, something like that. I'm walking this transition right here between the hardwood bottom and the planted pines, and it's looking good. There's a lot of intersecting trails, and I'm actually a little bit excited about finding this because I do want to bust a pig. So I got the first potential stand site. So I'm standing here in this little strip that I just showed y'all where the big wallow is like right back over my shoulder, about 100 yards. And there's a little clump of trees right back there that I could definitely get a lock on in. And there's this big trail crossing right here, and it's all browsed and everything. It's got a lot of native browse, like these green briars that I just showed you, and there's actually a rub on that pine, and then we got the hardwoods back here over my back. And I could get in that tree and watch this transition area, and I could shoot up in there and see if there's any beds close by, but I don't have a bunch of time. But it definitely looks like good bedding cover, so this is definitely a good potential stand site, especially with the muzzleloader. I'll be able to cover this whole strip right here, and when the leaves are off, I'll be able to cover a lot of these hardwoods back in here too. I'll be able to see in there and maybe poke one down in the woods, but off to a good start. So earlier I was talking about finding like food sources and everything that'll be relevant to the time that I'm up here. And right here over my shoulder is a big, huge red oak tree. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Red oaks don't you typically drop at the same time as, white oaks and stuff. So, there's really not many white oaks in here at all, but there is a few. And these red oaks will start dropping probably just before I start hunting this place, or when I start hunting it, like mid-November. There's a few acorns on the ground just from where storms have knocked stuff out, but other than that, everything's still up in the tree. And I took the binos, I checked it, and yeah, there's acorns in it, which that's an important tip. Always check to see if there's some in it, because it won't do you any good if you're hunting a tree with that hadn't produced anything. But that's exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm going to mark this on the map and keep it in mind and keep moving towards the marsh down here. That was cool. I was literally just getting ready to sit down and do like a little interview about where I was. I'm down here right next to the creek, and there's a lot of brush piles and little thickets down here. Those brush piles and got some thunder. These brush piles and thickets are great places for them to bed when it's warm out, and I was just about to stop and start talking about them, and that thing jumped up out of one of these little brush piles and took off. So that was another thing that I was talking about when I was saying finding bedding that kind of relates to the time of year. If it's cold, I'll go get on one of these little cutovers or pine thickets, and that's probably where they're going to be bedded, because it's good thermal cover. They'll stay warmer there in a cutover. I got the sun on them. But if it's really hot in November, which it very well could be, it has been these last few years, they're liable to be bedded down here in these little brush piles next to the creek where it's nice and cool, and that's exactly where that one just was. So again, that's just another thing to keep in mind, where I'm kind of covering all bases, kind of preparing for whatever weather circumstances could happen that time of year. So I'm working my way into this marsh, as you can see. And man, it is beat down in here. There's so much deer sign. There's a bunch of old rubs, lots of tracks, plenty of pig sign, and I just jumped another deer out of a brush pile over there. So definitely a bedding area. stand site number 2. So I'm in this little opening in this marsh that I just showed you, and there's a lot of buck sign coming through here, a lot of trails, but it's so close quarters, man. Like, I could get in here with the muzzleloader and sit on the ground and hunt it, but honestly I might bring, well, by that point I'll be hunting out of a saddle because I just ordered a saddle, so I might bring the saddle in here and just bow hunt it, because I mean it's so close quarters. I mean, I'm not gonna have any shots at a bow range right here. I don't know, dude, we'll see. Let's keep looking. Boom. Good example right there, these beds I'm talking about. We just got a little brush pile right here with a little bed right there, just nestled back in there. They're sitting with their back against that brush pile looking out this way, which is why these deer keep like seeing me and running off. So they're just watching this right here, backed up against that, probably with the wind coming over their back. So this is really exactly what I was looking for, and I might sneak in here with a bow and get the saddle in here and try and get one. This is looking phenomenal. If I'm gonna kill a big deer on this place, it's probably gonna be in here. So I just kind of shot out in the marsh a little bit and then came back this way. I'm sitting back in this little grove of trees that I kind of initially pointed out that would be a good spot, and whoop, fresh rub right here. Check this out. You can see where he's got all the limbs and everything busted off of it fresh. He's hit it like way up here, busted that limb. That's pretty cool. It's good to see fresh buck sign like that. I know they're in here, so we'll just keep. Oh, here's a little bed right here, right there. You can tell where something was laying. Oh yeah, check that out. There's a big hair in it. Little bed is probably like a fawn, but still, this is a super promising area. I can't wait to hunt this. Well, I'm wrapping it up. I'm getting out of here, but check that out. Found this old stand that some guy had left in here, probably back from when it was a club. It's been there for a long time. It's grown into the tree. This guy's right on top of some good stuff. He's right over here near the edge of the marsh, and I wonder what stories that stand could tell if it could talk. He's probably seen its fair share of good bucks come by it. But I'm pretty confident with this so far. This is looking really good. Fresh rubs, good bedding cover. I've got backup plans for everything, and now I'm in a beautiful little white oak grove that's got a few red oaks in it as well. So this will probably definitely be a hot spot come this fall. I'm real excited about it. But you guys will see me hunting this place come November. Can't wait to share it with you.